Good morning, my dear students. In this lecture, with extension to the earlier lecture, I will share with you the details of the transportation problem initial basic feasible solution finding with Vogel's approximation method. Now I will share my screen. Earlier we have seen this problem. We created this problem. So there are sources, destinations, D1, D2, D3 are destination. Sources are S1, S2, S3, S4. So the destinations are the warehouses or the sinks. They have the demand. So S1, S2, S3, S4, they are the sources or factories or production stations. They have capacity. Okay. Now it is a transportation problem is simply how many units are to be transported to which destination. So out of your S1 150, how many units will be allocated to D1? How many with the D2? How many to the D3? It is the actual problem because you see at the bottom, the 13th row, what is the item? Total cost of transportation. It has to be minimized, right? So now we are taking Vogel's approximation method. Earlier we completed northwest corner rule, right? So the northwest corner rule is very easy to understand because always you are taking the northwest corner of your existing matrix. There you are filling as much you can, you need to fill it, and the remaining you need to update it. And once you are having the last one row or the one column, you are filling automatically, right? Now we are taking this problem to the Paint 3D. There I will complete how to do with the Vogel's approximation method. Okay, right? Um, okay, I will draw it again in Paint 3D. So initially, so this is S1, this will be S2, this will be S3. Do one thing. I will increase the canvas so that you can write more. Now at the bottom, I can draw the demand. So here it will be D1, D2, D3. The last is capacity, right? Okay, now I will fill the data with one by one. This will be- Okay, this is 5, 6, 4, 12, 8, 9, 11, 5, 3, 20, 16, 14, right? So these are all the cost parameters. Now I'm taking another color so that you will have the distinction. Right. The capacity I'm writing with one color 150, 150, 250, and 250. Right. Now the bottom demand 100, 200, 500. Okay. Now I'll take with another color 100, 200, and 500. Okay. Right. Now this problem we need to solve with the method Vogel's approximation method. So here at the top I'm writing Vogel's approximation method. The only problem in this transportation is to which cell I need to allocate in the priority manner, right? So earlier in the northwest corner, we are prioritizing the cell based on the position. Those who are at the top left, we are giving, right? Without concerning anything about the cost inside, right? Now, I am writing simply some allocation box, right? So these are all the allocations. Whether the allocations will be there or not, it is a material. We need to prepare the box. Okay. So I am preparing the allocation box for this. Okay. Right. Now you see in the Vogel's approximation method, it is a systematic one, right? It doesn't mean that earlier one is not systematic. So this is more systematic, right? So in this method, we need to calculate another two parameters. One is row penalty. Second one will be obviously column penalty, right? Row penalty, column penalty, right? Clear? So what is meant by penalty? Simply here, the penalty means in this row, we are having the cost parameters 5, 6, 4. So penalty means very simply least, the difference between least and next least. Okay, least and next least. This is called penalty, right? If it is in the row, it is row penalty. If it is in the column cost items, it will be column penalty, right? Now, you can see here. Yeah. So each and every row, I need to calculate the penalties, right? So least is 4, next list is 5 in the first row, right? You look at this, the 4 and 5. These two are least and next list. So what is the penalty? 1. Here it is 8 and 9. So it is 1. It is 3 and 5, third row. So difference is 2. Least is 14, next is 16. So it is 2. Now, all the row penalties are completed. Now we are having column penalties. 5 is the least and next 11. So it will be 6. And here 5 is the least and 6 is the next least. So penalty is 1. 3 is the least one, 4 is the next least. So penalty is 1. Okay. Now in the Vogel's approximation method, what to do with the penalties? You need to select that particular column or row which is having highest penalty. Now you can see in this 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 6. So 6 is having high penalty. Now you are selecting D1 column as a prioritized column, right? After selecting the prioritized column, you need to select the cell which is having the least cost in that particular column, right? So you are having the two parts. One is based on the highest penalty, you need to select that particular row or column as prioritized row or prioritized column, right? Suppose somebody having the doubt if the penalties are equal, then you can select anyone. You are having the alternate solutions. It is your choice. Okay. Right. Now here, I don't have the alternates. So 6 is the highest penalty. Now I need to select the cell which is having the least cost in D1 column. So the least cost in the D1 column is 5. So I need to select the cell S1 D1 as prioritized one, right? S1 D1 as prioritized cell. Now for this, I need to fill the data. Okay. So how to fill the data? Uh, for S1, the capacity is 150. For D1, the requirement is 100. Right? వాడు అడిగేది 100, మీరు ఇవ్వగలిగింది 150. సో ఎంత ఇవ్వాలి? మాక్సిమం ఇచ్చేయాలి. సో I am writing 100 here. So the D1 demand is over. మీకు 100 కావాలి, 100 ఇచ్చేసారు. సో cancel. Now the capacity of your S1 becomes 50 only, right? Is it clear? Now with the filling of S1 D1 with 100, the D1 demand is completed. Remember one thing, once you are giving the allocation fully for either a row or the column, one column or one row will disappear in the next iteration. Now in the next iteration, D1 will disappear. So I am writing my S1 D1 allocation with 100 separately. Writing separately, 5 is the cost and 100 is allocation, right? Now in the next allocation, D1 will not be there. So actually in your examination, you need to redraw everything, redraw the table, because I'm having some facility here. I'm erasing just like on the board. Now I need to calculate the column penalties and row penalties again and again, right? Now this is my updated table. Now in the new table, I am having S1, S2, S3, S4 and D2, D3, right? Now you calculate the penalties again. So row penalties 4 and 6, it is 2, 8 and 9, it is 1, 5 and 3, it is 2, 16 and 14, so it is 2. Now the column penalties 5 and 6, it is 1, 3 and 4, it is 1. Now you see the row penalties, you have 2, 2 and 2. All are 2, right? Now you can select any one of the row. You can select S1 or S3 or S4, right? Now randomly I am checking S3, okay? I am picking S3. You may pick S1 or S4. No problem at all, right? Now I am picking S3, right? So after selecting S3, my row penalties and column penalties, their role is over. వాళ్ళ పని అయిపోయింది, పక్కన పెట్టేయండి. సో S3ని select చేసుకున్నాను. So S3 is the prioritized row. Now I need to select the cell which is having the least cost. So the least cost cell is obviously, what is that? S3, D3, right? Now I am selecting this S3, D3 as prioritized cell. దీనికి ఎంత ఇవ్వాలో అంత ఇచ్చేయండి. ఎంత ఇవ్వాలి చూడండి ఒకసారి. D3, ఈ కాలం డిమాండ్ ఈస్ 500 అండ్ S3 కెపాసిటీ ఈజ్ 250. సో మీరు ఇవ్వగలిగింది 250 కాబట్టి 250 ఇచ్చేయండి. సో మీరు ఇవ్వగలిగింది ఎంత అయిపోయింది 250. వీళ్ళకి కావాల్సిన డిమాండ్ 500లో 250 అయిపోయింది, ఇంకా 250 కావాలి. సో మీరు ఎలకేషన్ ఏమి ఇచ్చారు? S3, D3లో so the cost is 3 and allocation is 250 units, right? So S3 will disappear in the next iteration, right? So I am erasing S3 from my matrix. ఈ కెపాసిటీ కూడా ఈ టేబుల్ మళ్ళీ కొంచెం దగ్గరగా జాగ్రత్తగా గీయాలి మళ్ళీ మనం. ఓకే, is it clear for everybody? I think yes. Okay, so I'm redrawing the table again. Now I need to calculate the row penalties again. 4 and 6 first row it is 2, second row 8 and 9 it is 1, 16 and 14 it is 2. Now the column penalties 6 and 8 it is 2, 4 and 9 it is 5. Okay, now you select the penalty which is having the highest penalty, it is 5. So D3 is the prioritized column. The least cost is 4, 9, 14. Least cost is 4. So I am selecting 4 is the least cost. The prioritized cell is S1 D3. So for this, as much you can, you need to allocate, right? So not to have the confusion, I am erasing this row penalties and column penalties. Once you select the prioritized cell, the role of row penalties and column penalties will over, right? Right. Now, S1 can give 50, but your demand is 250. So whatever you can, you give it. So you can give 50. So give all the 50, whatever you can, right? So your capacity 50 is over. Now out of 250, 200 is left. Now what is the allocation? S1 D3, you have given 4, it is 50. Oh, I can increase. Okay, right. Clear. Now I'm going for the pressure. Yeah. So S1 D3. So here the S1 capacity is over. So in the next iteration, S1 will not be there. So I am erasing this S1 row altogether in the next matrix. Now changing the demand and supply. Now I am having left with S2, S4 and D2, D3, right? Now I need to calculate the row penalties, column penalties again. Now 8 and 9, it is 1. Oh, and it is 1. 16 and 14, it is 2. 8 and 16, it is 8. 9 and 14, it is 5. So very easy to identify the column penalty. 8 is very high, right? Now the least cost is 8 and 16, it is 8. So the prioritized cell will be, what is the prioritized cell? S2 D2, right? So this is the prioritized cell. Once it is selected, so row penalty, column penalty, I am erasing from my view. So in this, S2 is having the capacity 150 and D2 is having the demand 200. So you can do 150. So give all 150 what you have. So oh, all 150 I have. I am allocating for this. So once I allocate all 150, my capacity is over, S2 capacity is over. Now the demand for this will be left with 50. Now what is your allocation? S2, D2, 8 is the cost and 50 is the allocation. Now S2 is over, right? Now from the next iteration, S2 will not be there. Now you remember here, now you see, I told you earlier, when you have the last one column or the one row, you can fill automatically without any rules. Now I'm erasing my row penalty and column penalty also because no longer they are required for you. Now you can fill automatically S4 D2. Okay, here it is actually 50. Right. All right. Okay. So S4 D2 is asking 50 and S4 D3 is asking 200. You have 250. So ఎవరు అడిగిందో వాళ్ళకి ఇచ్చేయండి 50 200 I think. Now my allocations are so I'm erasing and I'm going for complete details. Yeah, S4 D3. So it will be 16 and 50 and S4 this is D2 I think. Okay. So D3. So this will be 14 200. Clear? Right. Okay. Now I need to complete my table. ఒక బాక్స్ తీసేసుకుని బాక్స్ లో మొత్తం పెట్టేస్తాను చూడండి ఒకసారి ఓకే సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ యువర్ ఫస్ట్ వన్ దిస్ కాలమ్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ ది సెకండ్ దిస్ ఫర్ ది థర్డ్ వన్ అండ్ ఫర్ ది లాస్ట్ ది రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఫర్ ది బాటమ్ okay now I can fill complete the data here I will go for the brushes and I'll complete the remaining thing so this one no longer required right so my data this is my S1 S2, S3, and S4. So this is the demand. And here I'm having D1, D2, D3, and capacity. S1 D1, it is 5, and the allocation is 100. Its capacity is 100. S3 D3, S3 D3. Here it is 3 and 250. So here the capacity is 250, I think, remember. And the S1D3, it is 4 and 50. It is not 100. I think it is 150. Yeah, both are 150 and this is 250, 250, I think. Right. So this will be 100, this will be 200, and this will be 500. Right. Now S1D3 is S1D1, S3D3, S1, S2D2, 850. S2D2, it is 8, so it is 50. Now S4D3. S4D3, it is 14 and it is 200. S2D2, actually it is not 50, it is 150, right? Okay, now you can check it. What is the total capacity and what is the total demand? Each and everything is satisfied or not? So here the 150, so it is S1D 100, S1D3 50. So it is allocated. Now this S2 capacity 150 is allocated to S2D2 only. Now the S3 capacity 250 is allocated to only S3D3 and S4 capacity 250 is allocated to S4D2 50 units and S4D3 200 units. Now you might be asking one doubt, uh, why these allocations are being given to only a single station or single destination only. It is not whether we are sending to the different destination or a single destination. The only motto is total cost of transportation. Okay, right? Now, what is the total cost of transportation in this case? Here you see in each and every cell, I am having the cost parameters, right? I didn't enter the cost parameters for the unallocated cells. For only allocated cells, the cost will be 5 rupees per unit and I am allocating 100. Now you can see this. So I am putting the arrow here and I am writing with the blue color. So the cost will be 5 into 100 here, 3 into 250 here, 4 into 50 here, 8 into 150 here. This is 14 into 200 and for this it is 16 into 50, right? You sum up everything, we will get the total cost of transportation, right? Clear? So shall we calculate? So we shall calculate what is the total cost of transportation. Here I am having 5, just I'm calculating with the Excel. This is 5, this is 4, and this is 8. Now this will be 3, this will be 16, and this will be 14. Now for 5 it will be 100, for 4 it will be 50 units, and for 8 it will be 150 units, and for 3 it is 250 units, and for 16 it is 50 units, and for 14 it is 200 units. So I'm taking the cost as the multiplication of these two. So 5 into 100, it is 500. The cost, I will continue further. Okay. Now this is the sum of all the above cost parameters. Now I will get sum of all of this. Right. So this will be total 6250, right? Now the total cost of transportation here, I got 6,250 rupees, right? So this is the total cost of transportation in our Vogel's approximation method. Okay. In the same way, you can continue with the remaining problems. So you can practice well. The remaining problems and the variations with the total cost of transportation with the alternative methods we'll discuss in actual Jack and Talk class. Okay. Thank you very much.